household level recycling in America is declining. And the reason for this is that China and other countries who have so far received a lot of shipments from America with recycling waste have stopped doing that. And the complaint is that there's too much trash in the mix that cannot actually be recycled, which drives up cost. And that drives up the cost for the municipalities and the local companies to take in the recycling waste, and more of it ends up in landfills and being incinerated. And so a lot of people right now in America are sorting their trash, in the firm belief that this will end up as new material somewhere, and it will actually be just going to landfills and incinerated. And so it shows that household level recycling is actually a costly endeavor, and it doesn't really work in America with American price levels and wages. And so far, this reality has been dodged by shipping things overseas. So, in my view, a lot of the economics of household level recycling have always been questionable. So it's clear that metals and maybe some other materials can be recycled and should be recycled, and it makes sense. And if you have a lot of scrap metal, you can actually sell that somewhere. But for most of that material, it's just you have to pay to get rid of it, right? So this gives you a sort of market indicator that the material is actually not worth recycling. And it seems like, especially with household waste, it's mostly a symbolic gesture. So politicians and some activists like it a lot, and the companies obviously like that private citizens work for free for them to pre-sort the trash. But I think the basic economics just don't bear it out, and the market indicates that. And if anything, I don't think we should waste our lifetime manually, sorting through trash. We should use, machines to do it. And I think there's a lot of technology available that the waste handling companies have to invest in to actually automate all of this, because it's like when I lose only a couple of hours a year in sorting through trash, that's still like slave work that I'm doing for the waste handling. And I would prefer to maybe pay a couple of bucks more for the waste handling.
Yeah, or I mean, maybe they could pay people in different ways if it's
Mhm.
actually valuable. One point that I really like that Pierre de Rocher, our good friend, has made, and he made on a much earlier episode of Power Hour, is just that recycling in its economic form is mostly the province of large scale industry, because what industry does is it's dealing with large amounts of raw materials, and then it processes them into primary products and byproducts. But it's dealing with such volumes, with such awareness, that then the byproducts can themselves become very, very valuable products. As Pierre would say, I think they turn waste into wealth. So recycling, what we think of as recycling, is usually just almost an insult to it, where we just think, oh, I'm doing this thing, and I'm putting this in this bin and this in that bin, and then it's actually just going to China, except now China's rejecting it, so it's just going into a landfill. No, but real recycling is a really impressive thing. And Pierre talks about, well, the oil industry was really the pioneer in recycling. You think about what they did, half the barrel of oil or so used to just be waste and dumped in a lake or something like that. And they were able to recycle it into all sorts of productive processes, where now every little aspect of the barrel is used. It's like people talk about the Native Americans or Indians just making use of every part of the buffalo. And that's really what the oil industry has done with every little aspect of a barrel of oil. So that's a really impressive thing. So the concept of recycling both needs to be denigrated when it's inefficient, but when it's efficient, it's a great thing, and it should be recognized that industry is by far the champion of recycling, and not the recycling industry, which is often a racket, but just the actual recycling of regular industry. So that benefits us in all kinds of different ways.